Oh, welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Till the Dirt. This is the Shahs of Sunset rewatch, where I, Tommy Feight, rewatch old episodes of Shahs of Sunset that I haven't seen before, and I do it with one of the fans of Shahs, which is always great. Today we have a great dirty with us. Introduce yourself, Michelle.
My name is Michelle. I live in San Francisco. Sorry, my pug's jumping on my lap right now.
It's okay.
She does this whenever I'm on a Zoom thing. She likes to be a
I'm
part of.
surprised Toya's not here with me because she's normally
Oh,
my wingman for this type of thing too.
oh. But yeah, so yeah, I live in San Francisco.
How big a Bravo fan are you?
Pretty big. I've watched it since like the first even before then actually when it was like Queer Eye, but then what was the actor studio? Do you remember?
Okay, that was a great show with James Lipton.
Yes, yes,
Inside the Actor Studio was a great
yes.
show.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that's early. That's definitely early Bravo.
Yeah.
I, are you a Bravo fan or you a reality TV fan?
I feel like I'm more of the Bravo universe. I
Got
kind
it, because it's different.
it
It's
is.
different. I mean, for a long time, I think those those roads ran parallel of reality and Bravo. But in the last, I don't know, five, maybe longer, I feel like Bravo's become its own subset, like it's its
Yeah,
own thing. Like
yeah,
you could watch TLC
yeah.
and A&E and like all these
Very
others, but they're in
different.
the one bundle over here where
Yeah,
Bravo's its own entity.
it is.
Even MTV kind of falls to the other one. It's definitely it's got its own viewership. How big a fan of Shah's are you? Are you like a day one Shah watcher or
I pretty much with everything except like maybe Below Deck and Married to Medicine, I've pretty much kind of been addicted to Bravo shows.
it's okay, don't worry. It's a safe space for you.
Okay.
This is this is where Bravo fans come to express themselves, or especially Shah's fans.
That's funny.
Um what'd you think of this season?
This third season.
Yes.
Mhm. So it's funny. I kind of started rewatching about the time that you started doing it just randomly
Okay.
on Hulu and everything. So
That's kind of why I did too. I mean, it was brought to my Jane Slahuka, who's one of our dirties, was the one that recommended it to me. But the reason I was able to do it was because it had just kind of come back on these
right,
so on the streaming platforms.
right, right.
Otherwise, who knows, maybe I would have watched it. You know what I mean? But I never had the opportunity, and it was something I never really, looked to go back to do or really find it. Now it's easy.
Can I ask a personal question?
Sure, sure. That's what this is for.
Well, having watched back, you're on season three now, and oh, and a quick thing, I would skip the fourth season. I would go straight to the fifth season afterwards, personally. But
Okay.
what's it called? Do you think watching MJ in history has changed your opinion about her at all? Or
No, I knew this. Like she's always been this. You know
right,
what I mean? I
right,
will say that since I've had the kid, I wish that some of the things she didn't do, say, or whatever,
okay.
because there's gonna come a point in time where he's gonna watch the shit. You know
Mm,
what I mean?
yeah.
And but that's not it's not fair to me to be judgmental like that. She was in the fray of it, I wasn't. But that's the only part where sometimes I'm like, but beyond that, like I feel like when they were discussing my wife's sex tapes, that's always that's always a favorite topic of mine.
I
We usually
know.
like to have it, around the dinner table at Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? We like to talk about my wife getting stuffed like the turkey.
Well,
um,
I've always really liked MJ personally. I've actually always been more a fan of her than Reza. I know a lot of people are really into Reza, but for me, it's always been the other way. I feel
well,
like,
me too.
yeah.
um, but we get into the reunion, and a lot went on this season. It
Mm,
really did. A lot happened in the season. Like even watching, I've been doing this I mean, because of the filming and whatnot. Like there's been little bits and pieces where I've kind of had to pause a little bit, but I
Mm.
have been watching this season pretty for a few months. And when they started going like into the reunion, it was like, oh shit, I forgot that happened. Oh shit, I forgot that
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
And I'm watching it sequentially more or less. But I still forgot stuff. And first off, just to set the scene, that the silverware and the plates and that's like standard Persian wear, bro. Any
Yeah.
Persian house I've been to, they got the glass cup with the gold at the top. It's
Okay.
like it's very it all looks the same in that regard. So they did whoever produced it and set that table did an excellent job of capturing what it would look like if you went to a Persian dinner.
Right.
Just for the fans out there to know, like that's what it looks like if you go to like a Persian party. That's what the table's gonna look like.
Right. That's cool. I liked it. I thought it was fun, but I'm kind of glad that they didn't do that for every reunion.
Reunion.
Yeah, yeah, moving forward. It's like it was fun for to try it though, to see them
I
try.
think it probably made it very difficult too because all the clanking and whatnot,
Yeah.
like if people are looking at the food and like they're getting distracted. So listen, you've been there since Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. I feel like this is still new to
Hmm.
Bravo at the time. Like, yeah, I'm sure they had a couple of housewife shows and maybe they had a reunion or two, but I feel like this is still a very plus the Bravo reunion is not like you take my wife when she did Traders, for example, and the reunion, she was catty with the dude Giselle and the guy that what like
Yeah.
because they're from MTV and like MTV, their reunions are like because they haven't seen each other. It's like, hey, how you doing? Missed you. Oh, things are great. They weren't used to that Bravo reunion. Is I'm here to bury a bitch. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm here to fight. That's like, but that wasn't established like that's established now, and we're seeing it. This is one of the reasons because Shahs
Right.
did what they did on their reunions. You know what I mean? Like now it's par for the course. You almost accept it, but this is still kind of new when
Yeah.
they're doing it. And I'm pretty sure nobody cuts to the bone like Shahs, dude. Like it's
I'm
like you
trying
can
to think
see
of
Andy there.
like
Andy's like, look, these people are crazy because they are in a fight. There is nobody worse to be in a fight with than a Persian if you're gonna but like because they're not gonna actually fight. They're just gonna say terrible things to each other.
yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Which is worse. Like just fight, dude. You know what I
I
mean?
know. They're gonna
Um,
want to go for the jugular. My best friend is actually Persian.
so you probably know, man.
We're both, but I come from a Latina family, so I
Okay. They could do the
we're
same. They could do the same.
yeah,
They
it's
could
very,
do the
very
same.
similar. So that's why I think that's another why reason I kind of like, especially Shaw's. It's I mean, even though there are these people who are living maybe not like super wealthy lifestyle, somewhat, Hollywood lifestyle and everything. And it's the only one that has like culture and
Well,
things
I
like
think that's the biggest difference at this point in time, especially there's a lot of white faces on
yeah.
television. There's even a lot of black faces on television. But
I
that in between, there's not a lot of Asian, there's not a lot of, Latina, there's not a lot of Persian, So I
yeah,
think that all those other, marginalized in some ways when it comes to television,
yeah.
ethnic groups gravitate to Shahs because like it's not me, but it's close enough. It's kind
Yeah.
of like fucking when they go to Turkey. Like they're all acting like they went to Iran. It's not like it's not Iran, but it's
Yeah.
close enough. It's like
Some
if
of
I went to
that
I'm Irish. It's like if I went to England and it was like, yeah, it's fucking close enough. You know what I mean?
that's true. That's true.
It's not, but like that's one of the reasons it's hard for. And I don't want to fast forward because that's a part. A
Yeah,
bigger part when we get up to it.
right.
The Persian food, it's not really my cup of tea,
Oh, really?
at all. I don't like it. I don't like the
Supposed
smell
to
of a
be
lot of
better
it.
down there.
People love it though, so don't take me for, people love it. And I got friends from back home too that love it. So it's not just like, but it's just not my
You think
cup of
it's
tea.
because you've had a overkill of it, maybe, or it's just never
It's
been your.
not, I don't know. It's just like, it's not attractive to my senses. You know what I mean? Like visually, it doesn't look great. Like even the stuff that like people think looks great, it doesn't look like oh, let me sink my teeth into that.
Yeah.
For me, and like it smells like kind of ethnic. You know what I mean? Like it's not. I'm more of a plain Jane guy, so it's not for me. So, but like other people love it, so I'm not going to poo-poo it. But like I wouldn't be sitting there eating. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? If they had food I liked while this is all going on, I'd be eating.
I
And so it's not something that like I would have missed that. Now as far as like what they were talking about, like Beverly Hills, I don't believe that Beverly Hills is a large population of Persian. There are a lot of popular population of Persians in Beverly Hills, but like when they're like 40, I don't, I kind of misunderstood what they were saying. I don't know if they were saying in Beverly Hills or Beverly High School. If they were talking about Beverly High, I don't
right.
know because I've never been. I'll take their word for it. But if they're saying Beverly Hills, I think that's just one of those times where they're,
Yeah.
Persian exaggerating.
Yeah, totally exaggerating. I mean, I'm sure there's like more middle class neighborhoods
Yeah,
that
yeah, but there's everything. There really is. Money's got no color lines.
yeah.
People with a lot of money move to Beverly Hills,
Yeah.
especially the wealthy part.
Yeah.
Um, we got Lily. I'm just happy she's gone. I really am. Like
Uh,
she was very wet blankety, but I got to say, I'm very confused too because the way it's presented, she retreated the whole season. She didn't
yeah.
go to things, she didn't do that. So I thought it was kind of already like Lily's not going to be back next year. But
Yeah.
from the reunion, it looks like she might. But we know now she's not. But
Yeah.
it looks
Right.
like she might at the reunion. Like, oh, she just has to be more open. But I get what everybody there is saying. Like, you can't be on, it can't always be about you trying to sell some shit and then you don't talk to us or you don't be vulnerable anywhere else. It's just
Yeah.
about the things you want to show off in the products or whatever you want to sell. Asa actually had a great line, which was you don't want to be friends, you want to be on Shahs of Sunset,
I
which
agree. Yeah.
I could say the same thing about Asa though too. You know what I mean? It was ironic coming from
Well,
her.
yeah.
It was
But it's like, I think though, like I mean, I think they wanted to like not take away her voice, but it's like the way that she played the season because I kind of talk about the shows like they're sports. They're kind of my version of sports.
Yeah, no, you want to laugh? That
Yeah.
is the parallel that my wife always uses to me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like when I'm like, that she gets nutty about the housewives, she got to see this, she's like, well,
Yeah.
it's sports for you. So I get it. When she put it
Yeah.
in those terms, I get it and I understand
Yeah.
it. It's
Well, it's
like
just
going to BravoCon, it's like going to the
yeah.
Super Bowl. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
so I get it. I get it.
Yeah. It's like well, it's just I see I mean, my husband is not a sports guy, thankfully, but he is a gamer guy, though. So it's
Okay.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, no, whenever I walk by people who like happen to like talk about sports and stuff like that, I'm like I get that passionate when I'm like arguing with my sister and I used to watch the shows a lot together and so yeah, I'm like
Yeah,
that's
so you get it. You get it.
yes.
You like, yeah, you like, in the moment, if they feel stupid and immature and like there's so much more important things in life than the sport. But then you're like, but wait a second. Season three of Orange Housewives, I gotta admit, it got me a little riled up too. So it's funny. And then and even so then Lily's talking about her party and I get why they're mad because Lily didn't plan the fucking party, dude.
Yeah.
Production does all that shit. You know what I mean? So like when she kept passing it off as like, oh, I couldn't make these last minute adjust. The cast is like, just what are you talking about, bro? Just have MJ come,
Yeah,
And then she
yeah,
turned it to an insult by saying you guys have never been to a high classy party or whatever. And like I said, I was kind of over Lily um, but she played a big part in the reunion. So it was
yeah,
just a little weird because she really wasn't in the show, especially like the last, 5 or 6 episodes. When she was in it, she was just kind of shoehorned in. It didn't
yeah,
really make sense when she was in it, and she would just come in at weird parts,
yeah,
because it would just be her and like three people that you didn't know. So it's just I don't know,
I
man. I
think
just
my husband was watching me watch it yesterday, and he was like, "I remember that scene of her and the takeout and everything." He's like, "Is that woman?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's the one." Remember? He's like, "What was that? Why did they just like end it with her and takeout?" It's like, just get out of here already. It's like,
yeah, man, enough.
yeah.
Enough. And then, we start to cover Reza and my wife making up and making amends. Reza uses the line, I was in a dark place, which should be a fucking Bravo drinking game, dude. Because if it was, everybody would be wasted.
Yeah.
It's like a catchphrase. I would love to know who originated it, but I was in a dark place.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's Reza frustrates me. I'm just gonna say, and I feel like your wife is very, very forgiving. I
way
think,
too, way
yeah.
too, way too
Well,
forgiving. And
yeah.
again, I'm not even talking about things that you and I both know have transpired and happened. I'm
Mhm.
talking about in the context of the show. She's
Mhm.
way too forgiving because she's very strong. She's a strong woman and she's
Mhm.
strong and she's very opinionated. And she's like a lot of those things and they get thrown out the window for this guy, like, um, I,
Yeah.
I didn't like that, even when he's attacking Mike about his effort at work. She's
Mhm.
vouching for everything Rez is saying. And it's like, she was like a
Yeah.
parrot to him. It's like, yo, shut up. Let them hammer it out. He
Mhm.
doesn't need you to stick up for her, especially if you were on the other foot right now. You know what I mean? Like I don't know,
That's
man. It
the thing.
just
They would never be as loyal to her and I don't think that they have been like when somebody's been like,
no, when he's at odds with her, she's gum on the bottom of your shoe. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And even in those moments, she's still like not like, you know, not vicious to him. It's like, I don't know, man. But like I said, it's
Well,
just,
growing up with Vida.
yes. No, you're right. You're right. Like if you're getting used to being put down a lot, it almost makes you accept it a little bit. But the part that bothers me is she would never be like that with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, trust me, she says, like there's a weak spot that she has for him. Whatever, man. I got like, too bad he's gay, man. Hopefully they could have made it work. But there's definitely, like
Yeah.
I said, since he eviscerated her on this reunion last year.
No, I was
Fantastic. You guys are friends now. But don't go the other way because then it makes you look soft, in my opinion. It makes her look soft and it makes her look weak. And it almost makes a lot of the things he's saying sound more believable because she's right up his butt
yeah.
again. You know what
Yeah.
I'm
And I
saying?
remember at the time, well, actually, I really, really disliked the second season because it was such a gang up of MJ. And yeah, like I really couldn't like that was the shocking thing of that season. And it's like and he's so sleazy. It's like he even comes back as like the cheating husband does with like so many roses and everything like that.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. Like my
like it's
wife
a
has that line in that episode when she says,
yes,
flowers are for man,
guilty men.
guilty husbands. That's it. Some guilty men. Guilty men. Great
Yeah,
line.
yeah.
Great line. Great. But know that. Know that. You know what I mean?
He's sleazy. And I think that um I it's frustrating to see her she really seeks validation from I feel like these toxic people, that like
Because
and
you hit the nail on the head already, though. Look at the relationships you have. That's a toxic relationship. You know what
yeah.
I mean? I might be mother daughter, whatever, but trust me, there's a lot of toxicity there. I've seen it firsthand. So I think that you're right. I think there's an element like where she, the people that treat her shitty, she'll want to like appease, but like I didn't. I she'll treat me like shit sometimes, dude. It's like maybe I should just
I
be mean.
I no. I
No, I'm kidding.
No, no,
I'm
no. I
kidding.
trust
I'm
you, but
kidding.
at the same time, I guess because I see a little bit of myself in that, where like um, because I also grew up with people like Vita and stuff like that. So it's like I get the constantly trying to seek out validation that you should really let go, and then I think she is though, from what it sounds like, she's kind of trying to look at herself and be like more patient with you, and maybe not patient is the right word, but considerate of your feelings.
Yeah, well, listen, I think again, not to put everything on my son's back, but a lot of that has to do with him. It forces you to look in the mirror, and it forces you to say, all right, what are the things that I don't want him there's a lot of things about me I love, and there's a lot of things about me I hope he takes from me and goes out into the world with. But there's also a lot of things about me I don't like, and I hope he
Yeah.
doesn't pick up on those things and then go out in the world with them too, because I'm almost giving him that. I'm giving
Yeah.
him that information to take. And I'm talking about myself. I'm sure it's the
Right.
same thing for her too, where it's
Yeah.
like I don't want to be like that, But in the moment, it's different than when you could sit back. I mean, you even look at my wife. She's still finding it hard to apologize to Gigi for being 1,000% wrong. Like 1,000%. You know what I mean? Like
That's
even in the
anything.
moment she knew she was wrong. It's like, all right, nothing's really going on here. Let's go kick over a hornet's nest and let's
Yeah,
fuck with Gigi. Let's liven things up. That's how she's looking at it. And if
I
you
know.
and you're 1,000,000% wrong, but instead of just being wrong, it's like wrong with an excuse. And it's that's tough, dude. Now. Don't get me wrong, Gigi's the same way.
Yeah,
So it
yeah,
makes it easier because they both but that's also why my wife, you could tell, like in the beginning, when there's a ton of tension between them two, you could tell my wife, I know her, dude. She's mad that she's been put on the spot and she's wrong. So now, not I'm going to prove that not only am I not wrong, but this bitch is a nutcase too. So let me
yeah,
kick that, let me mess with her, and it doesn't take long before Gigi starts to like go to the gutter. You know
yeah.
what I
They
mean?
were
You're fat,
both
you're
definitely
ugly.
guilty
You
of
know what
that.
I'm saying? Like it doesn't. So like now it gives validation to my wife again, where it's like, oh yeah, well fuck Gigi. You know what I'm saying? You can't do anything with her. But meanwhile,
That was the weird takeaway that I had forgotten about with in the rewatch is that, because and I think that's because Gigi is so reactive too. Like like it's really easy to dismiss her because of what she says. I mean, talk about going for the jugular, like she I know. So
yeah, and I do think it's also good because I've heard it from this mouth, I've heard it from that mouth, or whatever. But in this, we get it straight from the horse's mouth that
yeah.
Gigi's really pissed about Leila because Leila wants to be on the show, and Gigi doesn't want her on the show because she's never had anything in her whole fucking life that's
Right.
just her, and she wants this to be her thing.
Mm.
But she's looking at like Leila like she's bad because she wants to be on the show. Obviously, you know, being on the show, if you're Layla, who just got divorced
Yeah.
and, whose husband she, it's probably a good, deterrent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but I don't get the hostility towards it. And listen, Layla's been a better friend to my wife, so I'm never going to understand the animosity that comes with Gigi being mad at them for hanging out because the
It's
cameras are not
because
there
she's
all the time. You know
it's
what I
just
mean? The
yeah.
cameras are there for a few months, 3 4 months out the year. Then it's the rest of the year, and it's one thing if the rest of the year they don't talk and they
Right.
only talk when cameras come back, but that's
Right.
not the case. They're friends. How can you
Right.
tell someone you can't be friends with that person? You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like it's juvenile to me.
Looking at it like I guess objectively, like if I'm because I don't know, because that's been the one thing and I 100% agree though that like Gigi was doing way too much, but I don't think it's about her sister. I think it's more like her and her sister's dynamic and MJ's just like a bystander of it.
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure. I feel like Gigi wants to be the center of attention. The same reason she gets up and leaves because her sister comes in. And I feel like she feels like she can't be the center of attention if my sister's there too, because
Mm.
that's going back to being a little kid
Yeah.
and being not the center. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Having to deal with someone else when you want to be the center of attention. With MJ, she could deal with it because these are all type A person. They're on a reality show, right? So they were all picked to be on a show for a reason. They're all big personalities,
Yeah,
right? So she could
right.
deal with that from an MJ, which is difficult. That's why they fight a lot. But I think she doesn't even want to tolerate that with her sister because
Yeah,
it's like, I got it's enough to have to deal with Reza and Asa and MJ. I'm not dealing with you too. You weren't picked for the show. I was, you
yeah.
know?
Very you know, old sibling dynamic. Like they're just
Yeah, for
stuck in it.
sure.
And
For
I,
sure. Played out on television. Whoever
yeah,
did, um, it's funny because when you look at it from a casting standpoint, Leila has a lot more going on.
yeah.
Leila has, again, the husband just cheated on her in her own bed. You know what I
I,
mean? Like she's got a lot of shit going on,
right.
but Gigi's the but like if Leila was the cast member,
Uh,
Gigi probably wouldn't even be on the show. You know what
yeah.
I mean? Because like she couldn't, it's not hers, you
They
know?
would. They would find a way for her to bring in
No,
her
but I'm talking
friends.
about from Gigi's standpoint. You
Yeah.
know what I
Oh,
mean? Like,
yeah,
like,
totally.
like I'll do it, whatever, but it's not hers. So like, whoever cast it was right to put
Yeah,
Gigi and have Layla be the one to kind of want to, butt in because again, it's
right.
about like Andy said, it's about everybody's families, dude. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's about your wife. Like, they're gonna be on it if unless they don't want to be on it. You know what I mean? If they don't want to be on it, that's one thing. But if they want to be on it, it's about the family. Why wouldn't we have them on?
yeah,
And but Gigi clearly does not want it,
yeah, yeah.
um but it's a weird dynamic. It's a weird dynamic because they are sisters, and now like uh, she has nieces. Like it's just
Yeah.
weird, but
In retrospect, like maybe it was probably doomed to like not going to work out no matter what just because Gigi is involved. But it still did make really good TV. I
Oh,
mean,
for sure. That and that's basically what this comes down to,
yeah,
and they definitely, without a lot of training, without a lot of practice instinctively, they make pretty good TV.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Like
then excuse me. Um,
personally, if I had like a somewhat friend that was kind of emotionally volatile and stuff like that, and she wanted me to work with her sister, I would probably pass it on to somebody else because
but
I
see, that's the thing, though. My wife's always looking for friends too. You know
uh
what I mean? And she's a realtor. It's kind of part of the business. You just
mm,
socialize and whatever.
it
And
is
then
different
there's
when
an
it's like
element of my
family.
wife that's like, you're not going to tell me who I can't hang out with.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean? Especially if we get along and we're friendly. It's one thing if, like, if we just put it this way, Sammy, who you know from the first season, right? He's one of my
right,
wife's very good friends. Like to this day, one of his best friends. Sammy got married, right? And at the wedding, like right after the ceremony, he's telling me this ain't gonna work. You know what I mean? Like
oh my
this ain't
God.
gonna work. This the mother's not won't stop complaining. But in his defense, the girl he married kind of like a switch went off too. It was
Oh,
weird.
okay,
But whatever. My wife befriended her. They were friends. The second that ended, my wife was done with her. You know
right,
what I mean? Because that's where her loyalty lied. That's where her friendship lied. She knew
right,
that the relation that it would never be able to continue.
right.
Like that it just too much of a line was drawn. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
like, and it's kind of this. If that was the case with Gigi, right? Like where Layla, like Layla's a good person. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
so like
yeah,
Layla showed up and was there for my like it would be not right of my wife to do that to Gigi's sister. I
yeah,
get why she did it to Sammy's wife because they hung out a few times. It was nothing like they were
yeah,
besties. It was nothing like, they were social, they had their phone numbers, they would text, that type of shit. But it was always a little bit at arm's length where Layla and my wife are friends,
right.
and so I think maybe it was to get a rise at some point, but then that barrier crossed when
Mm.
two women became friends, meaning that she was
Yeah.
going through a divorce. She's got 2 kids. My wife was there for a lot of that shit. So,
Right.
like, you become friends. It's not just like, oh, I can't talk to you anymore because Gigi doesn't want it. It's
Yeah.
kind of like, I'll make her mad because we're friends.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just think that
I'm
that's,
glad they did eventually move past it, but it's like, yeah, it sounded like it was a no-win situation
yeah,
for.
it was just juvenile. You know what I mean? It was just
Yeah.
juvenile. I think very territorial.
Mhm.
Um, then we get into Mike and Reza. I do believe, Reza, that Mike did not want to work. I think that seems to be a pattern.
Right.
You know, for those that don't know, when I met my wife,
Mhm.
I was working, or our office was on the same floor in the same building as Mike.
Oh, okay.
I didn't introduce myself to Mike. Because again, you got for months going on. I didn't even know my wife was on the show type. So then
Right.
once I find that out, you know, the guy that I worked with actually used to watch the show.
Mhm.
And he's like, that guy is on the show. Because we would see him. He would just be walk like you wouldn't see him working. He'd be walking around outside on the phone all the time. Like he wasn't. So like I don't know. It just again, I was in my office working,
Right.
right? He
Right.
didn't seem like he was working
I
that
see.
hard. Now, granted, he's on the phone all day. Maybe it was for fucking work. I don't know. But he
Right.
seemed like he was outside and not at his desk and in his office a lot. And I
Yeah.
think that that's a running message that everybody seems to have about Mike is that you know, he doesn't want to. And Reza makes a great point. I'd love to disagree with him here, but you don't leave a
Well,
thriving anything. You
yeah.
you don't leave any type of thriving business to go try something else. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like if it's
Well,
thriving,
to
stick with
be
it.
I feel like it's one of those things where two things can be true, where like everything Reza says is true, but what else is true is that personally, after especially since I've seen all the seasons since and everything, I don't think Reza this was ever a sincere thing for him either. I feel like this was something he did
My
as
girl Michelle, every fucking episode, again, man, someone says something profound and like, yes, cuts through all of it. I completely agree with you. I think that that was a partnership that was made for television. And
Yes.
then
Yeah.
once the show ended, because again, we're gonna be partners was at the end of the season 2. Cameras go down and
Mhm.
life starts to take toll. And I think Reza kind of realized I don't want to fucking be partners with this guy. He's lazy. He doesn't do a lot of
I mean,
fucking things.
everything that what he said, that line, like, why would you leave a thriving anything? Why would you get into business with Mike, period, if you haven't known him that long?
Even more of the point, I wrote that line down, but they
Yeah.
cut to it. He's the one telling Mike, "You should come work with me. We should partner up." So like
Right.
he's the
Right.
one that was like, I'll get. He's the one that told Mike we should do this. I
Right.
think that once they got in it, he realized I don't like this guy's a little bit lazy. Mike
Mhm.
probably looked like he was trying to, be like a plankton and kind of latch on to Reza and
Right.
like gonna make the money without
Well,
really having to
Mike's
put the
very
work.
entitled in that way, so I expect that from him. But it's like I do feel like Reza was never serious about it. It was all for tea, and I think he too also just thought all he was gonna have to do was take pictures with him,
Yeah,
and, and
I also think, Reza loves this TV shit, dude. You know what
mm,
I mean? I don't care if he was, you know, um, the guy from $1 Million Listing,
right,
Altman. You know what I
right,
mean? I don't care if he was the biggest real estate agent in Los Angeles. Once he started catching his fame shit,
hmm
that's what he wants. That's
right.
what he wants to do. You know what I mean? So I don't even think he's working that hard right now on real estate. And the fact that you want me to like show you the ropes, teach you everything. And my wife was parroting, but she's right too. That's the deal
Mhm.
in real estate. Like there was a lot of things that you heard Mike was like anti against, but it's like, no, I know because if you throw a rock in LA, you're going to
Right.
hit 15 real estate agents. So
Yeah.
I already know how the business works. That's why I'm shocked that he was so surprised that that's how you pay your dues. Like when you get into it, and you're going to try and get a mentor, the mentor is going to eat off you. It's not the other way around. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He's going to eat off you for a little bit, and then you could go off and do your thing. But because you have their expertise and their knowledge, and that's why it's worth it to you to pay someone like that. So I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
you're right. I think it's a little two ways. I don't think Reza was giving the help that Mike thought he was going to get, but I
Yeah.
also don't think that Mike was showing up every day with a
Yeah.
notepad, eager to work and learn. You
Yeah.
know,
Not at all. Not at all. He's totally That's, I mean, I don't think he would ever like even think to like go to a mentor to like learn from somebody. Like he
too
thinks,
confident,
yeah, yeah,
too confident. So kind of all their problems. They're all a little too confident.
yeah,
But that was the end of part one.
yeah.
Part two, they open up, they go back again. This is one of the seasons I forgot that Reza went at Sasha at the
Oh
club
my
in this
God. I
season.
remember that. Yeah. It was
Yeah, and I frankly don't feel like they held him to task enough, man. You
not
know
at
what I mean?
all.
Like if that happened today, dude, like he would get eviscerated, bro. And I feel like it was kind of like,
100%.
oh, I was having a bad day, and I was internalizing some shit, and I let it out on him, and I really don't like that they make it seem like you go to one therapy session and you get a
Yeah.
breakthrough and you're
Yeah.
cured. I don't like that. I really don't.
And it's not that he still rages out at people, like he's got a lot of self-hatred
But
for,
but even
he's got,
I'll use me as an example and not him. And I like this is, you know, I'm not supposed to talk really about what we filmed or whatever. But there's a scene you'll
uh,
see in this where we go to therapy, and it's the same fucking thing, dude. Like they're trying to make it, it's therapy is supposed to getting to like
yeah.
what the fundamental thing is about what's wrong and like why you might react or do or say or certain things. And you're not going to get
Mhm.
that in one session, dude. And I feel
Yeah.
like when they use these therapy sessions on reality TV, they want the conclusion, like the cure by the end of that scene. And I just don't think
Yeah.
it's fair. I don't think
No,
it's right to show that as that's what goes down at therapy.
right.
Shit, it could take you fucking I know, man. It could take you 10 sessions before you realize, you know what? This therapist sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
yeah.
Or this therapist ain't for me. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And like,
100%,
so
yeah.
I just don't like
I've
to,
been in therapy for like 20 years myself, so it's like I really I totally
so
get
you
it.
get it. It's a process. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
20 years and you're still not a finished product, you
Yeah,
know?
no, I don't think I'll ever not want to have a therapist personally because I just feel like I need to have somebody to check in with and
Yeah, kind of download my shit where I don't want to do it to my husband. It's not fair.
yeah,
And he's got
exactly.
his own shit. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Yeah.
Like I said, so I just don't like the idea that, oh yeah, I said terrible things to this guy and treated him like shit, but then I went to therapy and I realized, oh, I shouldn't have done that. And it's like, oh, all right, everybody's okay. Next scene. So
I know. And I don't think Reza anything really changed for him. I think it was just a chance to give him a chance to basically try to redeem himself so, people could let it go for a minute and I wonder actually because that's the thing that I even question too, like is any session that's filmed, is that like because I'm sure that goes some kind against some kind of ethics or something. So it's like I'm sure you have to sign off some kind of
Oh yeah, no, you definitely got to sign shit and you got to do all. But listen, for me, like I'm honest, man. So like and if I could, it could help me get to a better part of me or figure out why I'm fucked up in certain ways.
Hmm.
I'm all for it.
Right.
I'm all for it. Let's go. I'll be happy to be in there and be phone. I just don't like the idea that by the end of it, whatever the issue you had, you're gonna wrap it up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, all
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
done. We talked about it for an hour. We're good. I just don't like that aspect to it because
Yeah.
it's just not
Yeah.
real. Now, if you wanted to track it through a whole season, you know what I mean? If you're going to therapy in episode one and you're talking about, your late night snacking, right? And
Right.
the whole
Right.
time you're getting to the root of why you get late night snack, and then by episode 15, you're like, yo, man, I haven't late night snacked in
Yeah.
3 weeks.
That,
Oh, now I can see the growth. I could see why that happened when they're just trying to like put a bow on it. And the one that it doesn't jive with what therapy is all about. You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Yeah. It's definitely not something. that
And
would play out today. The same.
yeah, and like, and even their FOB, and my wife's like,
Oh
yeah, no,
God.
it's fine. It's fine.
That's
It's great. I'm
I'm
like,
like,
I'm like,
how upside down is it that Mike is the on the right side?
but
Like,
Mike's on the right side a lot. That's why it's
yeah.
so like Mike says great things.
Right.
He's like a politician. You know what I mean? He has great sound bites, dude, and
Yeah.
he has great advice. But then, like, you look at 10,000 feet and you look at how he lives his life, and it's like, what the fuck, Mike? But in those moments, he really has. Sometimes he has,
Yeah.
salient advice and like a great outlook on how you should do and be, but it's just. But then you see him do shit, and it's like, oh well, I'm going to listen to what this guy
Well,
said.
that's the common thread between all of them is getting mad at everybody for the same shit that they do and
Yeah,
everything.
it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. And even like when they're talking about, loyalty and Mike should have been loyal. Like I get loyalty, dude. Like I said, I don't care what you did. If you didn't do it to me, I'm loyal to you. But that doesn't mean you have to condone the behavior. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It doesn't mean like my wife leaving with Reza that night. I get that. But there should have been a scene in the car where, like, yo, man, you can't talk like that to people, dude.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? There's cameras here. We're Persian. There's not a lot of other Persians on TV. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be a better representation for people and for who
Yeah.
we are. That's no way to act like in public and talk to another gay dude. You're
I
gay. You know what I mean? But there was none of that. So
I
I'm
don't
willing to
get
bet
his
my wife didn't take him to task. And that's condoning behavior. And that's not the same as loyalty. That's different. And from there we go to Turkey. Um, and the Turkey trip is like I said, it's hard for me to now I wasn't there, dude. You know, and maybe I would feel different if I was there. And
Mhm.
but I wasn't there, and Turkey ain't Iran.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to get like in the same,
Well, I
they keep
get
talking like it's the same thing. It's not the
yeah.
same thing.
No, 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 it's not the same thing at all. And I did, and you're right about that. But I do get that one moment where MJ was, hearing the prayers and everything, even though they weren't allowed to go into you know, the
The mosque and pray with
the
the men.
mosque. Yes, yes, exactly. Even though they
But
weren't,
I know what you're saying, and I agree.
yeah.
And but
I'm
same
just
thing
saying in
with
that,
Mike. I agree with Mike not wanting to go in there. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
not like it's
yeah,
not. He's Jewish. It's like I don't. I'm good. They've said bad things about me. I don't want him to go in there. So I
I
get
don't,
it.
I don't know. I mean, aside from that, I just meant like there was the moment where she was saying like well it was kind of spiritually overwhelmed her. She got emotional and she's like this is the first time where like I'm with my my people and I know no not specifically the same country but having grown up as a Muslim in America or
Yes,
or extra brown in America and everything you're in a country where you're not the minority. So like that part I got about her, but
it's true now. When you say it like that, it's true. You know what I mean?
right,
Like if I went to Canada, I'm not going to feel that different. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like it's like, hey, they talked weird, but you're not going to feel it. But if I walk around Mexico, I'm going to feel different. You know
Right.
what I mean? And if you're walking around, if you walk around Iran, you might feel like at home. But I'm sure Turkey feels more like home than you know Los Angeles. Even
Yes.
though there's Persians here everywhere, but there's still a lot more of everything else too.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah. But
But
like I said, my attachment to it just wasn't, and I like that Andy brought up the fact that, because Asa was all about it until she
mm,
was told she couldn't pray with the men. Then it was like, oh, wait a second. I mean, this isn't that
yeah.
cool. And I think it was good. I thought it was good that they talked up America for, like a lot. Because a lot of times when I deal with these Persians, especially with the mother, she'll act like she's still in Iran, and like that's where the party's at, dude, and I'm just here. It's like, yo, man, pack your shit and go then. You know what I'm saying? If it's so
Well,
great.
yeah.
Yeah,
They're
but it's not. But it's not like there's a reason that the people, the downtrodden, and all those. There's a reason you come here because you
Mhm.
could get a better chance at life and have a better life than where you came from. And if you didn't, you wouldn't leave. It's the same
Yeah,
way. Like if you had a thriving business and you wouldn't switch to another career, right? It's
right.
not like it's the same premise. So I'm just happy that you get to hear a little bit about like the greatness of America. You can see that Lily and Gigi were very passionate in defending Iran, which I get too. But
Yeah.
Lily's with the gay guys. They'll change. There was, what
Lily's
are you
very,
doing? Read the room, bro. What are
yeah.
you doing? What are you doing? And she was like doubling down with it, like, yeah, I know they'll do
Well,
that.
she's just a ridiculous person of privilege in both cultures, in America and
True
in
that. True that. True
so
that.
I mean I don't know. I feel like America's changed a lot. I mean, that's the thing to me that I was,
Oh, 100%. Listen,
yeah.
we're not perfect. We're pretty far fucking from it.
Especially
But
given like I mean, we don't have to get super political or anything.
yeah, but it's still like the 4th
The
of July is
climate.
coming in 2 days, man. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
still no other country I'd rather my son be born and raised in. There's still we have a lot, we've come a long way. We have a lot further to go, but it's still, an shining example on the hill, dude. You know what I mean? Um, then Darth Vida comes in and she loves Andy, dude. She loves Andy. She really does.
Was this the first reunion she was on
I
or
thought she was on last year on the season 2, but I guess not because she said this is the first. Thank you for having me. This is the first time, and but see shit like this that makes life hard with Vida because it validates her. You know what I mean? No other parents on the show, so
Yeah.
she's thinking it's
Yeah,
because
they
I'm
love
awesome. You know what I mean? I'm awesome. I'm a
they
great
do.
mom. I'm a great fucking Persian. I'm an authority on a lot of shit.
Yeah.
I'm awesome. That's why I'm here. It's like, no, bitch. People are looking like, yo, can you believe she just said that to her daughter? You know what I
I,
mean?
I
It's a
know.
very, it's a very train crash type of
Mhm.
can't take my
I
head
think
away or
she
can't
comes
look
from
away
that
with Vida.
she just comes from that generation. Like my great she reminds me a lot of my grandma. Um but yeah, it's just like uh
Yeah, but
I
see, I
don't
take task with the generation shit. I don't think she's mean. You know what I mean? Like your
know
grandma
100%.
was probably fucking mean too, dude. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
she
Like like
100%,
trust me, there's
100%.
plenty. Like there's other. I've met tons of other Persian parents, dude, and they are not like fucking Vida. You
My
know what
sister
I'm saying?
used to
They
have
are
some
nice.
pretty
They are
nice,
fucking loving.
yeah,
They are. This is the first time I've actually heard her say that MJ was not planned,
yeah,
which I kind of knew, but
right.
like you could tell just in her response there I didn't want this kid. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
have her now. I got her now. I got it. And I love her. Great. But yes, this is not what I was looking to do. And I don't think she should be looking to do it either. Like when they were asking her, you think she'd be a good mom?
Yeah.
She's fucking like she couldn't wrap herself around because I know Vida too. Like in her mind, she's just thinking she's got no husband, she's got no boyfriend. Like, what are we even talking about? She's not going to have any kids. Why?
Right.
So why would even ask the question? But they're asking the question, and all you got to say is, yeah, she's loving that. Even what are some things you like about MJ? They were so fucking generic. Like,
It
yeah,
even took Lily by surprise. Even Lily was like, she was
yeah,
just
she
like,
was like, yeah, she's smart. She's good with the dogs. You know what I mean? It's like, oh man. But and she's not nurturing at all. Now sometimes
right.
you could be a lot of other things and still be a good mom and not be nurturing. But you heard her. Immediately she heard, I'm not a good mom when she said I'm
Yeah,
not nurturing. So
right.
that's kind of like how it will be with my wife sometimes. And I'm sure she'd say the same thing about me, where you say something, but that's not what I said. You know what I mean? And you heard
Mhm.
differently. Like she said she's not nurturing, which she's fucking not, dude. A cactus is more nurturing than Vita. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
this has nothing to do with being a good mom. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
like shit. I have a buddy of mine who's a doctor today. His father was mean as shit, but he turned out pretty fucking okay. You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
kid, but he like
Well,
he never got a hug, he never got a pat on the back, he never got a
yeah.
that a boy. You know what I'm saying? But
Right, right.
his dad was good. He was a provider. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't always mean that that's just like that eliminates you from being a good parent, but that's what
Right.
she heard. Because I'm sure she's probably heard it before, you know?
Yeah, no, it's not. There was that scene in season one with the rest of MJ's family and everything, and they all, which was, but I mean, like, she is who she is. She's not gonna change, you
That's
know.
the other part too. You
Yeah.
know,
So I just kind of like, what's it called? I'm assuming Vita had maybe a hard relationship with her mom too. Maybe she wasn't very
but no, not the way
nurturing.
she. If you ever listen to the pod where we have an episode where I have her as a guest, and she talks about her mother being like this loving, fucking anything you
Oh,
need.
really?
It's so crazy. It's so fucking crazy. And she was the baby, and the baby by a few years, like she had all. So like they doted on Vita, not just the
I
mom, but
see.
like the whole family. So like that's why there's
I
a
see.
very
So
narcissistic.
there's no excuse for Vita.
No, no, not really. Not really. Not fucking really. Not from anything. And Shams was the nicest guy I've ever met. And he worshipped the ground she walked on, dude. Like his whole face, his
No.
whole demeanor, his whole spirit would change and shift the second she walked in the room, dude. And and it would leave the
Wow.
second she left. It's crazy, fucking crazy. And so I don't
Yeah.
know where this, like, I get where everything starts with her first. You know what I mean? Like she's the
Yeah.
center of
Yeah.
her universe. She's more concerned about her. That's why Shams is the first person where I've ever seen her not be. Like, yeah, she concerned about MJ, but it's like the worst things. Like, oh yeah, if she didn't answer my call, did she get murdered? Or is she, you know what I mean? Like, it's like so extreme the other way, but that's not love, dude. That's like over. I don't know how to explain it, but like you being nervous that your daughter didn't pick up your phone call and going to like the extreme of, oh my God, what happened? Like thinking all the worst
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
It's not love. It's you being a freak. You know what I mean? Like it's the same thing with Shams. Like the worst things are going to happen. You know what I mean? Like if he doesn't wear his coat, oh, then he's going to get a cold. And if he gets a cold, he gets pneumonia. If he gets pneumonia, he's going to like she'll go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4.
Oh
Like
God.
lady, chill out, dude. It's 85 degrees. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be fine. What the fuck are you like? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
But that's her, man. And like you said, we're too late in the game at this point. I
Yeah.
think some people can have growth and some people could change, especially if they want to change.
Mhm.
She feels she's a finished product. She
Yeah.
definitely doesn't feel like she has to work on anything.
Yeah.
If anything, she's got some tips for you on the things you need to work on. You know what I'm saying? And then bum, 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 they get to Mike and Jessica.
Oh
And
God.
you know, I wish Mike's not honest a lot when it comes to Mike's shit. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? And I wish they would have listened to him a little because he was being honest when he said he's scared and he's fearful. He was being truthful, but they immediately were like, get over it. She's a great girl. We
Right.
already know that. We already know she's a great girl. You know what I mean? We already
Yeah.
know. We've seen it. She's done all the things. But now you got him here, and he just said something that would open a door up. They should have, in my point, try to get that out. Well, what are you fearful of? Why are you
Right.
scared? You know what I
Right.
mean? What about Jessica makes you scared? Instead, it was more like, get over it. She's great, But
Yeah.
and that's just going to make him retreat. It's just going to
Yeah.
make him retreat. That's exactly what he did. He's going to live in a shadow of darkness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't. I'm not gonna it's difficult because I already know how it ends, right?
Yeah.
I already know, so it's like it's easy for me to say, oh, I could see that coming, but I don't know if
Well, in
I
this
know
one,
how it ends, but I still feel like I see it coming that
yeah.
that it's not gonna work.
Well, at this point, it was still being presented to us as she's, they're like yeah, he's dragging his feet a little bit or whatever, but there wasn't the whole cheating stuff coming up and whatnot. And uh
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes.
So,
It still looks like they're a cute couple, and he's just
mhm.
got his doubts and reservations, and like but but even to me, this year, and again, this comes with me with hindsight, so it's easy for me to say it, but they didn't look like they had any chemistry. Like it looked like she kept, "Where's my ring? Where's my ring? Where's my ring?" And he's
Right.
like, "It's coming, baby." You know what I mean? But it wasn't like there was any
Yeah.
love there. It was like she was at a point in her life where she wanted to find a good man and get married and have kids. And
Yeah.
he was at a point in life being on a show where he wanted to present himself to his Persian community that he's a great guy, he's a stand-up husband, and now, possible father. And, but I didn't see any heat or passion between them. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not going to be shocked when it ends. Not going to be shocked.
Right, right, right. Did they
But
break up before or after you were
the
uh
same season I started.
I see.
I never met Jessica though.
Oh, okay.
Like they broke up, you know, during that season, but like they had scenes where I wasn't in or
Right.
I wasn't involved in. So I never met her. But that season, this week, the same season I come on is the same season she left. And I think that season, is it the next one or is it the one after?
I think it's the one after. That's
I
that's the
think
one.
so too. I think
Yep.
so too. Um, but someone was telling me one of the people I did the pod with, I think a
Um,
few episodes ago, that it was the next season, but I don't think it is. I think it's two seasons. I
yeah.
mean, listen, we'll find out, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Michelle, you were great. You were well worth the wait.
Thank
You
you.
definitely have a lot of insight into this stuff.
Yes.
And I could tell that, this is stuff that you actually think about. And you ever want to come back and do another one with these with me,
Oh
I'd love
yeah,
to have you.
that was
And
awesome.
we'll do an episode next time as opposed to like the reunion. The reunions are tough because it's a lot of the stuff, but it's
Right.
also you can't really leave them out.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
exactly.
I mean, this one you kind of could. Like last year's reunion, you can't tell the story of Shahs and not talk about that reunion because of
Yeah.
the way Reza went after my wife.
I
You know,
know it was
you
sad.
know
It
what
was
I mean? And again, I'm removing myself from the equation. The
mhm.
way two main characters, one after each other on that reunion, you had to watch that reunion. You know what I mean? This
Right.
reunion, I mean, it's good. And I think we did a great rewatch, but like, I don't think the reunion was essential to season three. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
If that
I'm
makes sense.
glad that it was only two parts. Which
Yes,
is
yes,
weird.
yes, yes. Yes, but it was great to have you. I really
Thank,
genuinely appreciate you,
thank,
and we'll love to have you back. And it
I
was a
would love
great
it.
time.
All right.
All
Thank
right, kiddo. Five's up. You have a great
thank
night. Okay.
you. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.